And so I guess in that regard, you're still probably looking to be at the coin, because in these kind of matchups where it's the mirrors that are very tempo-based, generally you want to be on the play so you can be the first person to do something. But I think even in this mirror, you still just want to be on the coin as Token Druid to get that extra spell.
Absolutely. I mean, in tempo-based mirrors where you want to be first, it's because you have a 1-drop that's usually the shape of like a 1/3 or Flame Imp. But the 1-drop in Token Druid, you don't want to just drop that on 1 necessarily. The Gibberling has so much utility with all the cheap spells, and blitzchung does have it along with the coin, and I expect that's going to be the only keep as he goes for GivePLZ gets the Fungal Fortunes, but oh my gosh, blitzchung has double Gibberling.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Not really to synergize with it though, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I was wondering if you ever think about keeping the Pride's Fury, just to go in with a Gibberling and Pride's Fury at the same turn. If you hit Innovate or Lightning Bloom, it becomes a lot more palatable, but I guess you're just more focused on hitting the card draw and the early game explosions onto the board.
And for GivePLZ, this turn was also super interesting, where he hit the Nature Studies 1 turn too late, and he could have thought about going Innervate Fungal just to get the draw immediately and Nature Studies later. But I do like that he's ended up unfloating a mana here, because that Innervate, if he does pick up Glowfly Swarm from the Fungal Fortunes, allows him to go for the first board 1 turn earlier, which is so important in the matchup. And blitzchung says it's so important that he's going to invest both the Gibberlings.
And he's also saying, you know what, that jamming away during your game worked so well last week. I'm going to try it myself. Maybe that's the secret to winning a series of Hearthstone.
Can we get some blitz jams in the chat? This is a 6 Soul of the Forest, right? He gets it off Nature Studies, so we can just drop it next turn. And yes, I did talk about how Pride's Fury is the big kicker in the matchup, but Soul of the Forest is a very similar deal. If you can land it on this many minions, it is so hard to come back from on the other side.
And so, obviously here for GivePLZ, I was going to say, this should be a Fungal Fortunes turn, because that's what he was setting up for last turn. But honestly, because of how bad this situation looks, I was kind of wondering if you just have to go for Bloom Glowfly just to put something on the board and pray that they don't have a buff, because I mean, if they do, you're kind of just losing the game anyway, and you have to fight back against this.
Well, he does have a ton of mana now though, so he can go something like Glowfly Soul of the Forest in response. And to be fair, this is the type of board I was saying that while it's very durable, there is not that much attack power. So blitzchung, even though he gets the initiative, is not really able to take that many efficient trades, nor can he threaten immediate lethal. So he kind of, GivePLZ puts him in a situation where if blitzchung's not going to deal with this board, GivePLZ can threaten Arbor Up or Pride's Fury and just deal the lethal first.
Oh my god, what kind of a game is this? Both players just making these huge boards that you can't even deal with on the other side. They're probably just going to be ignored and keep smacking face each turn, because, I mean, blitzchung, if he had a single Pride's Fury, obviously he would just be pulling miles into the lead, and he's clearing up what he can here, I guess. But this is going to be really close.
He does have second soul, though. I think
that's true. Yeah.
And he can Lunar Eclipse as well.
Yeah, that might just do it.
He removes the 1/2/2 that's left with no Death Rattle on it. And now I think he has the right to threaten lethal, because he started. I mean, that first layer of Gibberlings already put GivePLZ on less health, and GivePLZ just has only 1 mana this turn. If he takes the trades, he's in a horrible spot. If he goes face, he's in a horrible spot.
So what are the miracle outs then? Do we need to... Because we could obviously go Thorn Growth Sentries on this turn just for a bit of extra defense so that you don't just die. But it may be the case that you need to hit exactly Arbor Up off the top to go with the Solar Eclipse, or discover something off the Nature Studies that I can't even think of that could clear the board.
I think it is somewhere in that line of desperation, and GivePLZ is doing pretty much the same thing blitzchung did, which is remove as many full minions as he can, as in 1 layer and the Death Rattle, but blitzchung just has the Arbor Up, and that is... I was gonna say not lethal, but it is lethal to GivePLZ.
Well, nice quick game to kick things off in the second series of the day, about what we expect from Token Druid. I suppose the only real decisions that we can talk about here for GivePLZ is on the play. Is it ever wrong to keep the Fungal Fortunes? Because that was the one card he kept, which again I appreciate is one of the best cards. But do you just have to assume that your opponent is going to hit a decent start and get ahead before turn 3, or do you just have to pray that they don't hit it, and so that the card draw will be quick enough?
That is the question, right? I've seen many Token Druid players approach it from two different philosophies. From Eddie in week 1, we saw him keep like 2 synergy cards with Gibberling, but without the Gibberling itself, and just said that if I don't hit the Gibberling, I'm losing anyway, so I'm going to keep the maximum payoff cards. If I were to approach it, I think that GivePLZ is still right to keep Fungal Fortunes on the play, because even if you do hit Gibberling, when you don't start with the coin, it is actually very hard to make it pop off as effectively. And you saw from blitzchung, he didn't quite have like that many tools to make a single Gibberling go wide. It was the fact that he had 2 Gibberling that just coined in nature studies was enough to fill the board into that big Soul of the Forest.
Well, GivePLZ on the coin this time, and he keeps himself a Lightning Bloom, maybe in a nod to what you were talking about, just that even if it's not specifically for an early Gibberling, it's just to do something faster than your opponent. You just want to do the broken thing first, whatever that broken thing may be. And to be fair, again, there are some boards where a bunch of Gibberlings, they don't deal immediate lethal, and then the opponent can go Glowfly and try to race you that way, but GivePLZ absolutely has the follow-up to a Gibberling board. And blitzchung with the perfect Fungal Fortunes off the top is an insane top deck to refill this hand. It's still not doing much, admittedly, without a Glowfly or a Gibberling, but without that, things were looking really rough.
Resizing Pouch for 0 mana, it gives you a very good chance of sniping Innervate or Lightning Bloom. There are other cards in the pool like the Pounce and Dusk Imp and Murloc Tiny Fin, I believe.
Right, but if you don't hit exactly Bloom, it's not that good, right? Because you can't get down the Arbor up. And I get that he couldn't have got Gibberling and then Resizing Pouch next turn, or he wouldn't have been guaranteed to hit the... he wouldn't have hit 0 mana cards, he would have hit 1 mana cards. But even then, it's a very unimpressive Gibberling that he gets down here.
Yeah, I would have to get back to you on the exact odds of hitting exactly Lightning Bloom, because I'm inclined to say it's still pretty likely, maybe under 50%, but GivePLZ clearly says it's worth to take that risk here because he saw that Fungal from blitzchung, and this matchup is so explosive. blitzchung doesn't have any good board development, just the Thorn Growth, and I'd imagine he's interested in just hero powering away the 1/1 this turn.
Yeah, it depends on his mana restrictions, because you're very possibly looking at Pounce if you have nothing better to do. Oh, sorry, if you have something better to spend your mana on. But if you don't, obviously you are correct, and you just hero power it down. And it's now just a case of looking for, obviously, the Glowfly or the Gibberling, but even just Solar Eclipse to go with the Thorn Growth. Like, that puts something on the board at least.
GivePLZ now can go for Glowfly for 5, which is, I think, good enough. Wait, why didn't he just Lightning Bloom for 1 more minion?
He doesn't want to be overloaded next turn because he wouldn't be able to play Arbor had he done that, whereas this way he gets to go Adorable and Arbor. I think it's probably worth it, actually, even at the cost of 1 Glowfly.
That is true. Just going for the big race. Yeah, actually very heads up now that I think about it from GivePLZ. But there is blitzchung drawing away to respond, and he gets the immediate Pride's Fury, I'd have to imagine.
The Pounce is so sick as well on this turn, just to be able to clear as much stuff as possible. Maximum development, maximum removal. It's classic Token Druid stuff. And the real question now, Gia, is will the Arbor up plus Infestation be strong enough?
Probably not, because it's not just Prides, it's also Power of the Wild. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's so big. How do you deal with this?
Let's jam. Funny thing is, I don't see any headphones on him. Is he wearing AirPods or something? Oh, or he's just got it on speaker.
Nah, he's in tune with the rhythms of the forest, Gia. The druid powers are flowing through him here very clearly. As I mean, you just can't beat this man on Token Druid. He 2-0s GivePLZ, who, you know, I thought yesterday was playing pretty good on the Token Druid, in all honesty, but it just doesn't even scratch what blitzchung is able to do. I think, in all honesty, you know, obviously he did get pretty lucky, top decking onto the perfect fungal, finding the gibbling, but I think he played it all very well. He knew exactly when to go in, and I do again have a couple questions from GivePLZ in that series about arguably just going in too early. In game 1, I think he could have maybe waited a minute and tried to go for a slightly later Soul of the Forest. And in game 2 here, or maybe I'm thinking about last series, I might be getting my token